So, you made a mistake, and now you're on YouTube watching a video. Or maybe you're just bored. Either way, I'm here to talk about, mistakes, messing up in life, and what we can do from going forward. You know, for starters, obviously, we can't change the past. It already happened. All we can do is learn from it going forward. And one thing we do know is that we've messed up before in the past, and we got through it in the past, and here we are today with stories to tell. And so, with that said, what makes you think that the future is going to be any different? What makes you think that you making this mistake or a mistake you recently made is going to not make you into a better person with more stories to tell and a more stronger and resilient person compared to people who haven't been through what you've been through? You know, the bigger the mistake you've made, the bigger the lesson is, the more wisdom you can gain from it, you know. And in my experience, I'll be the first to tell you I made plenty of mistakes. And for example, let's say going into debt, like debt is not a good thing, not a good thing at all. And that's a big mistake. Let's say tens of thousands of dollars in debt and you don't have a means of paying that off. You know, imagine a mistake like that. We all make mistakes. But I'm not going to sit here and complain about it, you know. I'm not going to just give up on things. I'm still carrying on with life as if I didn't make that mistake, you know. I'm still, being smarter with my money. But I'm still pushing forward. And I think you should too, you know. You got to have faith in yourself for the things that you can control, and for the things that you can't control, you got to have faith in God. There's no point in stressing about it if you can't control it. You don't gain anything by worrying about it, and you don't gain anything by worrying about the future either. And that's written in the Bible. If you know, you know. And if you have a time machine, you can go ahead and change stuff, but you don't. And if you have a crystal ball, you can go ahead and try to predict the future, but you don't. So, with what we do have, we got to make the most of it, man. We got to make the most of it. And just keep pushing forward, man. Imagine if you just gave up previously. Imagine you made some mistakes in the past and you gave up back then. You'd probably be in a worse position now, right? And I think it just comes to a matter of perspective. There are people who have made bigger mistakes and they still, push forward as if it never happened. There are people who haven't even been given the chance to make the same mistakes that you've made. Imagine, let's say, you're failing in school or whatever, you're failing your classes. There's people who aren't even in school, people who haven't even had the chance to get a proper education. And then there's people who complain about not getting perfect A's, straight A's. It's just two different sides of the story, you know? And that's all we can do, man. Just keep pushing forward. Stressing about things that we've done, whether it be perfectly right or not. There's just no point in stressing about it, man. All we can do is learn from it and continue to push forward. I'm just out here. I'm still getting videos out to y'all on a rainy day. Ain't nothing gonna stop me. And in my previous video, I said, I was gonna start uploading daily. I uploaded that video, should have been yesterday, and here I am today. So, up until now, I'm still a man of my word to the best of my ability. Despite things that I've done wrong, despite, things that I've done right. And I think you can relate to that to some extent. Despite all the things we've done, we can still push forward. That's one thing we do have in our control, is to just keep pushing forward. That's one thing we can do. And on top of that, I think the main thing is just having faith. Because there's no way you can predict the future. Like I said, you don't have a crystal ball. There's just no way. You don't know what's going to happen today, tomorrow, next year. So why even stress about it? Put your 100% in and let the rest just happen. That's all we can do. You know, speaking of other mistakes that I've seen other people make, you know, people have lost their jobs, people have, you know, messed up relationships they've had, and people have, you know, injured themselves doing things they shouldn't have. People ruin their bodies, tattoos, all types of stuff. They make mistakes. And they just live with it. That's, you know, I think it's just a matter of overthinking it. Making a mistake, oh, it's the end of the world. It's really not. To be human is to make mistakes. If you didn't make mistakes, you probably wouldn't be human. You'd be a robot if you did just everything perfectly. I haven't done everything perfectly, you haven't. And that's just how life is. That's just how life goes. And we're all just, what defines us is, you know, the actions we've taken up until now, right? Now, some people can say, oh, I was born in poverty, born into riches. But if you take certain actions, that can easily be changed. Someone born into riches runs away from their family, now they're poor. You know what I mean? Because of where you started doesn't really lock in to where you're going. People's actions have more of a say-so to their future than where they started. Let's say you take a rich person and a poor person. Like I said, take the rich person and they just don't know how to do anything with money. They just blow it all up and they end up even worse than the poor person. Now you take that poor person and you instead not even teach them, they just learn through experience that, you know, you have to be smart with your money if you want to get around. You have to be, you know, diligent, be conservative with your money. And so that poor person goes much farther than that rich person who was born into money would have, you know, because they've learned lessons through their actions. Both people's actions determined who they were in the future. Despite whatever, you know, wherever they started off as, their actions took them to where they need to be. And if you think of life as like a timeline, let's say a mistake set you back. If you take the right actions, you can still end up where you need to be. You know, they say life is, you know, 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you handle it. All right? I'm sure there was a movie named, I think it was either Rocky or Creed, I forget. But, you know, I think his name's Sylvester Stallone. He was like, you know, life's not about how hard you get hit. It's about how hard you get hit and get back up. Because that's the only thing you can control. That if you can't just not get hit in life, you know what I mean? You will get hit, but the question is, what are you going to do after that? What will you decide to do after you get hit? After you trip up and fall? After you make mistakes? After you experience setbacks? After you get injured? After you lose something valuable to you? What are you going to do after that? Because your actions after that determine where you will end up. Like I said, our actions are the definition of who we are. Our actions define us. Our actions define us more so than where we started in life, what we look like, even, you know, our names, things like that. Our actions are what define us. That's what makes people memorable. The things that they do, not how they look, just the things that they do. That's what makes people impactful and memorable, is how they do things, what they do, all the hearts that they touch in life, all the people they inspire. It's from their actions. But if you enjoyed this video, man, if you found it in any way, impactful to you, you can leave a comment, subscribe if you're new to the channel. And with that said, y'all have a blessed day. I'm out.